Carl Jung made a discovery so disturbing that he considered it one of the most dangerous psychological forces ever to emerge in human consciousness. In his private notes, never intended for publication, Jung identified the lazy, ambitious archetype as what he called civilization's ultimate test, a psychological pattern so fundamentally threatening to established order that it could either trigger humanity's greatest evolutionary leap or the complete breakdown of social structures as we know them. Jung's analysis of why this archetype poses such an existential threat goes far beyond individual psychology into the realm of collective unconscious forces that could reshape reality itself. What he discovered about the true nature of this threat will challenge everything you believe about human potential and social organization. If you're ready to explore Jung's most forbidden insights about an archetype that could fundamentally alter human civilization, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comment below if you've ever felt like you were witnessing the emergence of a completely new form of human consciousness. Jung's identification of the threat began with his recognition that the lazy, ambitious archetype represents what he termed evolutionary pressure on human consciousness itself. Unlike other personality types that fit within existing social frameworks, this archetype embodies possibilities that transcend current human limitations. Jung realized that when enough individuals begin operating from this level of consciousness, it creates what he called morphogenic pressure, a force that compels the entire species toward transformation. Whether society is ready or not, the first level of threat Jung identified was what he called paradigm dissolution. The lazy, ambitious archetype doesn't just challenge specific beliefs or practices. It threatens the entire conceptual framework that holds civilization together. When someone demonstrates that extraordinary achievement can emerge from ease rather than struggle, from alignment rather than force, from wisdom rather than effort, it undermines the foundational assumptions upon which all social institutions are built. Jung warned that this dissolution could happen rapidly once a critical mass of people witnessed alternative possibilities, but Jung's most chilling insight was that this archetype possesses what he termed reality, restructuring capabilities. The lazy, ambitious individual doesn't just succeed within existing systems. He naturally creates new realities that make old systems obsolete. Jung observed that these individuals seem to bend circumstances, opportunities, and even natural laws around their vision in ways that appear almost supernatural to those operating from conventional consciousness. This power threatens not just social arrangements, but the very fabric of what we consider possible. Jung identified the lazy, ambitious archetype as what he called collective shadow, integration made manifest. For millennia, human societies have suppressed the natural impulses toward ease, flow, strategic rest, and organic timing in favor of forced productivity and artificial urgency. This archetype represents the return of these suppressed aspects of human nature, but integrated with high ambition and sophisticated strategic thinking. Jung warned that this integration creates a form of power that existing control mechanisms cannot contain or redirect. The threat escalates because this archetype embodies what Jung termed post-hierarchical consciousness, a way of organizing reality that doesn't depend on dominance relationships, scarcity competition, or control structures. The lazy, ambitious individual naturally creates collaborative environments where everyone's potential is enhanced rather than suppressed. This collaborative power threatens every institution built on the assumption that human beings need external authority to function effectively. Jung's research revealed that this archetype poses what he called contagion threat, the tendency for their way of being to spread rapidly through populations once people witness its effectiveness. Unlike ideas that can be debated or suppressed, this archetype represents a living demonstration of enhanced human capability that people instinctively recognize as superior to their current experience. Jung observed that exposure to this archetype often triggers irreversible awakening in others, making it impossible to return to previous limitations. What Jung found most disturbing was that the lazy, ambitious archetype seems to activate what he termed dormant DNA, potential human, capabilities that have been suppressed or forgotten over centuries of civilization. These individuals demonstrate abilities that suggest human beings are capable of far more than current social arrangements allow or encourage. Jung warned that as these capabilities become more widely activated, they could trigger rapid evolutionary changes that leave current social structures completely obsolete. The archetype threatens what Jung called collective trance maintenance, the shared hypnosis that keeps people trapped in dysfunctional patterns. Most social control depends on keeping people unconscious of their true potential and convinced that their limitations are natural rather than imposed. The lazy, ambitious individual operates from clear consciousness that sees through these illusions, and his clarity tends to wake others from their trance. Jung warned that mass awakening from collective trance could trigger what he termed civilizational panic. Jung identified another level of threat in what he called the archetype's temporal transcendence. The lazy, ambitious individual seems to operate outside normal time constraints, able to achieve long-term results through patient strategic action, while others remain trapped in reactive short-term thinking. This temporal mastery gives them enormous advantages in creating lasting change and makes them extremely difficult to predict or control through conventional means. Perhaps Jung's most prophetic insight was that this archetype represents humanity's next developmental stage, attempting to emerge through individual consciousness. The lazy, ambitious individual isn't an anomaly, but a preview of what human beings might become when they evolve beyond current limitations. Jung warned that this evolutionary pressure is natural and inevitable, but that existing power structures would likely respond with increasingly desperate attempts to suppress or control this emergence. The threat deepens through what Jung called natural authority activation. The lazy, ambitious archetype naturally develops influence based on authentic wisdom rather than positional power. People instinctively trust and follow individuals who demonstrate integrated consciousness and sustainable success. This natural authority threatens artificial authority structures that depend on external validation rather than internal development for their legitimacy. Jung observed that this archetype poses what he termed systemic immunity bypass threat. Most social control mechanisms work by triggering fear, guilt, shame, or desire in ways that keep people compliant and predictable. The lazy, ambitious individual has developed immunity to these psychological manipulation techniques because his sense of identity and security comes from internal sources rather than external validation. This immunity makes him virtually ungovernable through conventional means. The archetype threatens what Jung called economic foundation assumptions. Current economic systems depend on artificial scarcity, manufactured competition, and the belief that human beings must be coerced or incentivized to be productive. The lazy, ambitious individual demonstrates that abundance is natural, that collaboration is more effective than competition, and that authentic productivity emerges spontaneously from aligned action. These demonstrations threaten the entire basis of extraction-based economics. Jung's analysis revealed that this archetype embodies what he termed integrated masculine and feminine consciousness, the union of focused ambition with receptive wisdom, directed action with natural flow, individual achievement with collective enhancement. This integration creates a form of power that transcends traditional gender-based limitations and threatens social structures built on maintaining separation between these complementary aspects of human nature. The threat escalates through what Jung called reality consensus disruption. The lazy, ambitious archetype doesn't just think differently. His presence actually changes the field of possibilities around him. People in his vicinity begin to experience expanded options, increased synchronicities, and enhanced creative capabilities. Jung warned that widespread activation of this archetype could disrupt the consensus reality that keeps current social arrangements stable. Jung identified the archetype's most dangerous capability as what he termed evolutionary catalyst function. The lazy, ambitious individual doesn't just evolve personally. His evolution triggers evolutionary pressure in everyone around him. He serves as proof that human potential far exceeds current social limitations, and this proof creates irresistible pressure for others to expand beyond their conditioned boundaries. What made Jung's analysis so urgent was his recognition that this archetype represents natural selection pressure on consciousness itself. Those who can adapt to expanded possibilities and integrated awareness will thrive in emerging reality, while those who remain trapped in old patterns will become increasingly dysfunctional and obsolete. Jung warned that this selection pressure could create unprecedented social division between those who embrace evolution and those who resist it.